What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Offseason Recap. Today we're going to be talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. So, as you can see on the screen here, bringing new head coach Clint Kubiak over from the Seattle Seahawks. As I mentioned in the last video, Seattle Seahawks are my favorite team, and man, was I was sad to see Clint Kubiak go. He did such a good job for us. The offense that he drew up, so much better than Ryan Grubb the previous year. But Raiders fans, you're getting one of the smarter offensive minds in the league right now. Just outside zone run, pre-snap motions, tons of play action stuff, just what's really popular and working in the NFL. I mean, I think it's a great signing. I think he's going to be able to help out Ashton Jeanty in this offensive line. As Raider fans know, did not go well last year. I think that was a real big reason why Clint Kubiak was brought in. They knew they were going to get Fernando Mendoza. You have Ashton Jeanty, who's one of the better running back prospects we've seen in a while. You needed to get that offensive line back in, and Clint Kubiak did a great job with the Seattle Seahawks offensive line, which wasn't great the previous years. He comes in and all of a sudden, I know they had grades ill, but they did a very good job. They also bring in Andrew Janocko, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, from the Seahawks. He was the quarterback's coach. Did a good job with Sam Darnold. I think Clint Kubiak's probably going to be calling the plays, I would assume. I mean, it's possible that he might defer that, but I would assume he's going to be a play caller because he's a very good play caller. And then on the defensive side, Rob Leonard, they promoted him from being the pass game coordinator and I believe the defensive line coach for them last year. I think that's solid. I mean, this defense last year did not have a lot of weapons to work with. I think they supplemented that this year, added some more depth to the defense. I don't know much about him, I'll be honest. But I think overall, I trust Clint Kubiak. People know his father, Kubiak family, been ingrained in the NFL for a little bit. He was under Kyle Shanahan with the Niners. He's with the Saints for the Seahawks, who's offensive coordinator. He's pretty ingrained with offensive play calling and offensive schemes in the NFL. So I think this is a good signing. Yeah, let's move on to the free agents. So, this first one here, Kenny Pickett, a little bit interesting. So, they give up a 5th-round pick in, I believe, this year's draft to go get him from the Browns last offseason. That didn't work out. You give up a 5th-round pick. I would assume they wish they'd get that back, but what are you going to do? Stone Forsythe, former Seahawk, let him go. He is not very good. That's just kind of... He's a big dude, but I think he's like 6'8", 315 maybe. Didn't work out. Lonnie Johnson, bouncing around a little bit, safety. I think bigger guy. Let him go. Darnay Holmes, corner, depth. I think he was on the Giants before. Let him go. You're fine letting these guys walk. You're just not happy with the Kenny Pickett, kind of wasting a 5th-round pick there. Let's go and see who they signed, though. This first one, Tyler Linderbaum. Huge surprise this offseason. I mean, $27 million for him. AAV is... I mean, nobody expected that going in, especially since all of it is guaranteed. This part does, I know quite, like, not quite a bit, but I've done quite a bit of research on the NFL cap, and I have a solid overall understanding. I would assume that this right here, why this is because of reaching a certain point in the season, then certain money gets guaranteed. Why would they would differentiate this? I don't know. I'm not a complete expert, but I think this is because he has to reach certain dates to get like roster bonuses or whatever. But still, that's a lot of guaranteed money for a center, biggest center contract we've ever seen. Is he worth it? Not necessarily, but they had the money to spend. They needed to go out and get some weapons, and they didn't really get a weapon. But I think beefing up that offensive line is going to help their weapons that they don't have. That's a very weird statement to say, but I think if you can give your quarterback time and give receivers more time to develop their routes, more time for Clint Kubiak to be able to actually scheme things, I think that'll work. I think Tyler Linderbaum could be the center of this offensive line. Obviously the center, but I meant more the leader of this offensive line. Great athlete, very smart guy. I think it's a good signing. Just the money is a little high, but I think that's fine. The first year, I think it's not as much. We'll get into the full salary breakdown of it in a little bit, but I think the second year is very heavy, and then the third year, it evens out a little bit. So I think it's a fine signing, even though it's a lot of money. Kwity Paye, I don't really love this signing. Former Michigan edge rusher. Was with the Colts. Bigger guy, kind of. I'm not a huge fan. 3 years, $48 million, 31 guaranteed. I don't love it. It's basically just a 2-year deal. He's an okay player, not much pass rush, more of a solid run defender. I just don't love it. I think probably just would have been better off just not paying him that, honestly. But they bring him in. It's whatever. Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean. 2 Georgia guys. Two Georgia guys. Nakobe Dean, great athlete. Quay Walker, also a great athlete. I think I like these signings. Both 3-year deals, solid money. They need to go out and get some players on defense, because last year was atrocious, just across the board. It just did not work, and they had the money to go do it. Could it maybe be a bit of an overpay? Sure. But I think this could work out. Nakobe Dean hasn't really been consistent in playing time throughout his career with the Eagles, but Quay Walker has. I think these 2 signings are fine. Then Jalen Naylor, another signing that's like, okay, I mean, is this an overpay? I think so. But I don't hate it. He only ran a 4.5, and it's one of those cases where he's much faster on the field than the times would show. Pretty solid route runner from the slot. Can get deep, even though he doesn't have that obvious burner speed on paper. But pretty good with the ball in his hands. They need some weapons. If you got to go overpay, you got to do what you got to do. And Eric Stokes, this is I like this extension. 3 years, $30 million. He's a very interesting player. Very athletic. He didn't actually run at the combine, but at his pro day, this was 4 years ago, I think now. He ran a 4.25 and a 4.28 at his pro day, which it's not necessarily official, but I think it's safe to say that he's probably a mid 4.2 to low 4.3 guy, which is great speed, solid size. So I love this contract for him. I think he's a very solid player. Then this one right here, Kirk Cousins. So that number I don't believe is right. I think it's a much bigger contract, but I don't hate it, because I think he's going to be a great mentor for Fernando Mendoza, help him develop. It's just, I think you would want to kind of see him get on the field and just go, because I think he's one of the more NFL-ready quarterbacks we've seen, even though the scheme he ran at Indiana was not very pro style. I think he's just such a smart player, such a smart person. He was getting offers from Yale. He went to Cal Berkeley before Indiana. He's just an extremely smart guy. But I don't think it's the worst thing to have him sit under Kirk Cousins for a little bit, let him develop. I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing this year by maybe mid-season. Because Kirk Cousins has been solid over the past couple years, but just he's nothing special. He's kind of one of the game manager quarterbacks. I mean, that's also kind of becoming a buzzword throughout the league, which is kind of hearing that game manager. What is a game manager? There's different levels, I guess. I mean, would you say Brock Purdy and Kirk Cousins are the same level of game manager? No, but they're both technically game managers, so you can define it however you want. Kirk Cousins is a game manager. Probably won't be here for long. It's whatever. I'm okay with it. Let Mendoza develop. He'll probably be playing by mid-season, if I'm being honest. Malcolm Kuntz, solid depth pass rusher, very undersized, about 240. He's been with the Raiders for a couple years now. Just constant good pass rush for them. 1 year, $11 million. Don't hate that. Connor Hayward coming over from the Steelers. That's Cam Hayward's brother. Fullback, listed as tight end. He's a fullback, the H-back, move tight end kind of player. Don't really love him as a player, but he's a solid blocker. It's kind of with him. And Spencer Burford, listed as left tackle. He played tackle in college, but with the Niners, he's been a guard. But throughout his college and NFL career, he's played all 4 of the tackle and guard positions, no center. But he's got flexibility to basically play all across the offensive line. I think great depth signing. Derek Young, huge fan of Derek Young. I know I might be a little biased as a Seahawks fan, but this guy is a special teams demon. just great in that area. But he's also a bigger receiver who's got some speed. I think he's about 6'3", like 210 maybe. And he's all of that. Like, you can tell he's a muscular dude. He's strong, he's fast. But he developed some route running capabilities as he went along his career with the Seahawks, and he managed to stay there his entire rookie contract. And he was a good player for them. He would get in, hit a couple of deep catches for them, and he contributed. He's a very solid blocker. I wouldn't be surprised if he sees the field more than people might think, but I could also just be biased. We'll see what happens there. Ian Thomas, solid blocking tight end, been with the Panthers, bounced around a little bit. And then, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this, but just a depth linebacker. I'll try. I think it's Segun Olubi. Just a depth piece. See if he makes a team. As you can see, no money guaranteed. So let's go ahead and move on to their draft picks. And I think this could end up being the best draft. Obviously, the number 1 pick. Honestly, just for right now, just kind of forget that. Forget that's that pick. Just look at the rest of the draft. I think this could end up being one of the best drafts, and also could end up being literally one of the worst. Start talking about Mendoza. Mendoza at Indiana was a great player. He had good athleticism. A lot of people sell that short, but good athlete, solid arm, very accurate, and just showed up when plays need to be made. Obviously, they won the national championship. He's got ideal size, 6'5". Like, he's pretty much the ideal quarterback build. He doesn't obviously have the athleticism that you might want in, a Lamar Jackson, but or Josh Allen even. But I was going to say he has a similar build to Josh Allen, but definitely not the athleticism. But he's got all the mental tools you need. You could call him a Tom Brady, more athletic Tom Brady. Tom Brady's obviously the greatest quarterback. Well, I don't know about obviously. I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time. There's definitely debate for that. If you want to talk about that, leave that in the comments. Maybe we could talk about that if anybody is interested in that. But yeah, I think Mendoza is going to be a great player. Probably not going to start out the year unless Kirk Cousins completely falls apart in training camp, which I guess that's possible. But I'm a big Mendoza guy. Traden Stukes. Let's get on to the rest of the class. As I said, this could be one of the better or just one of the worst draft classes this year. Traden Stukes is an older guy. 24 going on 25. That is old for a rookie. Most rookies we see come out are probably between the ages of 21 to maybe 23 sometimes. Some guys come out at 20. Think of a guy like Keldrick Falk. I think Arvo Reese is still 20. Might be turning 21 sooner. Maybe he already did. But at the time of the draft, those two guys were only 20, sorry. But Traden Stukes is 24. So this is an older guy. You might not be concerned about that, which if you just like, okay, this guy's one of the better players, we're just going to take him. We don't care about his age. That's fine. I'm completely fine with that standpoint. However, the likelihood of him getting a second contract is a lot lower than a guy who's 20, because at 24, how much more room does he have to grow? Definitely, he could grow, but as an athlete, probably not going to grow much. But the second contract thing. If he's going on 25 and his rookie contract is 4 years, by the end of his contract is up, he's 29, maybe 30. We'll see. 29. Sorry, I can't do math apparently. If he's 29, what are you doing with the second contract? Are you giving him a 3-year deal when he's 32? Let's forget about that for a while. Let's just talk about the player, because I don't love to talk about the negatives about players. I like to kind of talk about the positives. Like, obviously, it'll be analytical and there's nuance to these picks. We want to talk about those things, but I like to keep it more so on the positive end here. But Traden Stukes is a great player, despite his age, despite all of that. Played in the slot a lot, just finds the ball. Just a great player, flies around, good ball skills. He's listed as a safety. He's more of one of those nickel corner guys. He's not like the Nick Eamon type or Kyle Hamilton, where he's like a massive guy, but he's just a guy who's just got good skills, just has a good feel for the ball. He is 24, so you would expect that. It would be pretty concerning if he got drafted this high and he didn't have those good of skills and he was 24. Then we'd have a problem. But this is just a good player. There was some hype towards the end of the draft process that this could be a first-round pick. Makes sense that he wasn't because of the age, but I think this is a home run player. Question is, how long is he going to be that for? We'll see what happens. Kieran Crawford is a very interesting player. I mentioned in my last episode that I really like to focus on the defensive linemen. That's what I love to watch. This is a guy that only started playing football, I believe, in his senior year of high school. So, and then he was a starter at Auburn's. Obviously, an SEC school, haven't been great, but he was probably the best pass rusher on that team. And we know that Keldrick Falk came out of there. He wasn't a great pass rusher, but was a first round pick. Kevon Crawford, very solid athlete. Definitely some questions with his technique, but that's to be expected. He only started playing maybe 4 years ago, depending on how old he is. Like starting senior year in high school, like the fact that he's in the NFL now and he only just started playing a couple years ago, that's incredible. So a lot of room for development for this guy. Love that pick. Trey Zune, listed as tackle. He played tackle in college. He's gonna play guard. He played a little center in college as well. He's gonna be a guard or center. Probably won't be playing center because obviously Tyler Linderbaum. But if Tyler Linderbaum gets hurt, this is a guy that can play center. They've also got a guy like Jackson Powers Johnson. I believe they brought back Jordan Meredith as well. So there's a lot of competition for that quote-unquote backup center spot, even though all those guys are probably going to play guard. But he just got flexibility across all 5 positions, which that's very valuable. Just a solid player. Texas A&M, they're a pretty solid team last year. I don't mind this. Jermon McCoy, let's talk about him. This was the guy that a lot of people had as CB1 in the entire class based off of his 2024 film. He did not play at all in 2025. He got a torn ACL, torn Achilles, I forget which one it was. Ton of things wrong with him. Like I said, didn't play that entire year, then didn't really do anything in the combine or the process leading up to the draft. I believe he might have had a private workout. I think he ran a 40 at some point, but not a lot. And there's been a ton of talk recently about how he might have to have, I'm not a doctor, I'm not 100% sure on what all this stuff means, but apparently there's something in his knee, so they replaced his bone in his knee from a different part of his body, and apparently that might be deteriorating or something's going wrong with that, and they might have to replace it. I don't know when that would happen. They're talking about maybe that surgery would be, soon, so maybe he doesn't play this year at all. And then who knows if he hasn't played football in 2 years. He's going back on the field. Is he going to be that same player? Who knows? So lot of questions with him, but if he can get back to where he was, this is probably the best corner in the class. Just great ball skills, just feisty corner. That's what you want from your corner. It's just a guy who's just going to be a competitor, talk some trash, get in there, get down and dirty in the run game. He's everything you want in a corner, just couldn't stay healthy, falls to the 4th round. It sucks, but the Raiders might get a steal if he could figure out the health stuff, which I hope he can, because he's an incredibly fun player to watch. Move on to Mike Washington. This is the most Al Davis pick I've ever seen in my life. Bigger running back, like 6'3", maybe. I could be off on that. Like 225, but he ran a 4.3. Like, that's Al Davis to a T. I mean, just big athlete. Think of Jamarcus Russell. That one didn't work out, but that's okay. But this is a guy that I think can complement Ashton Jeanty very well. He was a 3-down player at Arkansas, but he's more of a straight line, get this guy going, get him through a gap, and he's incredibly difficult to take down just because of his size and speed. You get him to the 2nd level, 3rd level, people aren't going to want to tackle him. These smaller corner safeties, they're just not going to want to get in front of him. So you get him some running room, like not head start, but you get him the ball and let him get going. He could take it 50 yards for touchdown. I think that's a great compliment to Ashton Jeanty. I really like this pick, especially in the 4th round. To see that type of athleticism build that late, love that pick. Dalton Johnson here. He's not he's not a bad athlete, but not great. He was very solid special teamer. I think he's going to be at this level, but he's just the guy, smaller guy, not the greatest athlete. But I rewatched a bunch of all these players' clips, just like some highlights, just to review them, just so I could talk about them for this. Just watching his clips, he just throws his body in. Like, he does not care. Like, he's gonna get in and he's gonna contribute to the play. Just doesn't care about his body. He's just gonna get in there, and honestly, I love that. He's just going to throw his body in there, which, he's not, like I said, he's not the biggest guy, so like there's going to be other guys that are just better than him, but as a special teamer, as a depth piece, this is exactly the guy you want. Talk about Hezekiah Masses. This is a guy that could have gone higher, but there was some athletic concerns and also some penalty stuff. He's got great ball skills. He's one of those guys that I want the ball. I'm going to find the ball. He doesn't play the receiver. He plays the ball. He's going to find the ball. Had a ton of ball production. Like I think he had 5 interceptions last year. I think he might have led FBS in PBUs, those are pass breakups. I'm pretty sure. So he just finds the ball and he gets it. Very feisty guy, talks some trash. Love that. Love when corners do that. He shows some willingness to get up and tackle in the run game, but he's only like 180 pounds, so he is a little bit undersized. And you can see that on film. Sometimes I don't want to say shies away from tackling bigger backs, but he's not, getting up there at really and getting extremely physical, which is it's okay for a player like that. You can't expect everybody to throw their body at Derrick Henry. Like you can't have guys getting hurt like that. But solid player, really good ball skills. Malik Benson from Oregon, solid return guy. This is an interesting player, which there's a lot of nuance to his game. He's great with the ball in his hands, but it's not necessarily designed touches where it's like screens, get him the ball, let him go. It's more so let him get running and then get him the ball. So if you get this guy going across the middle on a slant, he gets the ball in his hands and then he's got a head start and he's running. He's incredibly hard to tackle. He eliminates pursuit angles. He can take slants to the house, quick slants to the house. On go routes, he can just run past people, catches the ball, touchdown. And like I said, returner. So he's kind of a specialized player. But I think he does have a role, like I just said. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to be like a top receiver on a team, but this is a guy who can carve out a role. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch Brandon Cleveland at all. I don't know much about him. I'm assuming he's just defensive tackle depth. I'm pretty sure he's a nose tackle. Could be wrong, but yeah, I didn't watch him. But yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty solid draft. Like I said, this could be the best draft in the entire class, or some of these guys don't work out. Traden Stukes is older, doesn't get a second contract, doesn't work out. Keyron Crawford, we think he could develop. He's got so much room to grow because he just started playing football. Maybe he doesn't develop. Trey Zune, smaller arms, not really tackle guard. Could be a solid player. Jamon McCoy maybe never gets on the field. Maybe Mike Washington never, solves his vision, never gets better vision, finding holes. Well, I think, like I said, this draft could be so good, and I hope it does. I hope it is. Because I really like a lot of these players. I really like a lot of these players in the draft process, especially Keyron Crawford, especially Mike Washington. But I like this class. Talking about this trade, they also traded Tyree Wilson during the draft to the Saints. I forget what the exact compensation was. I believe it was a day 3 pick. I don't remember what it was exactly, but anyways, they trade a 6th round pick for Teron Johnson and a 7th from the Bills. This is a very solid player. The Bills just had to cut him for some salary purposes. Very solid nickel corner. Been solid for them for a while. Not really much of a boundary corner, which we'll look at their depth chart. I was a little confused with what's going on with the depth chart. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But good player. You always just want to add more talent. But I feel like there might be a little bit of a log jam at his position. We'll get to that. But giving up a 6th, but then getting him on a 7th, that's just great value. Just do that. Yeah, let's talk about their multi-year salary cap breakdown. Actually, let's talk about Max Crosby real quick and that absolute fiasco that went down with them and the Ravens. I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't been alive for a long time, but I've never seen anything like this. We've seen like trades not go through, like after the fact, find out all players' physical didn't work out, trade fell through, but they were in talks. No, this one like got reported by all the reporters, Rappaport, Schefter, and then a couple of days later, like, oh, actually, it got canceled. Max Crosby failed his physical, and then the sports world went crazy. I'm not gonna make any assumptions on whether the Ravens were trying to quote unquote cheat or kind of mess with the Raiders. I don't know. It was just a very weird situation. I don't know the health of his knee. I saw a video of him dunking a basketball like a week after the entire thing went down. I was like, well, I mean, he looks fine to me, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But Max Crosby is a great player. This contract, great value. I talked about this in the last video. Myles Garrett is getting paid like $60 million. If you're getting Max Crosby for 28, 29, 27, 35, obviously a little bit higher, but like this is a steal of a contract as long as he's healthy. But such a high motor. This is one of, if not the best pass rushers in our entire league. Love Max Crosby. Love his story too. Great player. Just what a situation though. That was insane. Colton Miller, getting a little bit up there in age, was hurt all last year. Well, he's one of the better left tackles in the league when healthy. I mean, these two right here, this pretty solid offensive line that we've seen so far. Tyler Linderbaum, though, we talked about it, pretty expensive. But as I was talking about with the salary stuff, his first year is only $14 million. Then the next year is $34 million. Then the last year is $25. There are some void years on it, which we talked about in the last episode, but I'll recap. Basically, when a player signs a contract, they get base salary and they get signing bonus. Signing bonus basically split up across multiple years. So if you have a 3-year contract and you get $15 million in signing bonus, you get $5 million per year. If you get on a void year, then that signing bonus, rather than be just $5 million a year, you get another one. I'm not great at math, but it would spread out to 4 years. I'm not sure what the exact number would be, but hopefully you understand. But yeah, there's a void year here, so they're not as binded up in what they can do cap wise here. The Malcolm Kuntz, they get off his money. Jeremy Chin, he's a part of what I want to talk about with the log jam thing. Very, very weird situation they've got going on in the secondary. Maybe I'm missing something. Talk about that in a little bit. Quay Walker we talked about. But yeah, also Teron Johnson, I think this is a steal of a contract. As long as he's healthy, I think he plays way above this. Ashton Genty, what a great player. I mean, watching him last year was like his contact balance basically just means his ability to take contact and stay balanced and not get tackled is incredible. I don't know how he does it. He just stays up and doesn't get tackled. It's ridiculous. The Jalen Nailor contract we talked about, a little confusing, but only 2 years guaranteed. Maybe Clint Kubiak probably knows something we don't. He's going to use him and turn him into Jackson Smith and Jigba. Who knows? But yeah, solid. I mean, I think they've managed their money pretty solid. Brock Bowers, what a player. I mean, just a receiver at tight end, a good blocker for his size, just an amazing player. Say pull him out, he's also included in the log jam. I really want to talk about that because I'm very confused as to what's going on there. But Trey Tucker, love him as a player, just awesome with the ball in his hands. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. We'll talk about those guys when we get to the depth chart area. But yeah, let's get down to their dead cap, which Christian Wilkins. Oh geez, I forgot about him. If you don't know, there was a locker room incident. I'm not going to get into what happened because I don't know, but basically something happened. They released him. Don't know what was going on. Hopefully he's doing okay mentally, whatever's going on. Hopefully people are checking on him. Geno Smith, talked about him in the Jets video. They absorbed some of the money, but they got off of him. They saved some money as well. That's fine. Jacoby Myers, traded him last year to the Jags. Got some draft capital back. Tyree Wilson, we talked about trade to the Saints. Then a bunch of other guys just released. These down here basically negligible in terms of their cap. But yeah, I think they're doing a pretty decent job managing their cap. If we could just see maybe, yeah. So 2027, I mean, they're gonna be up for $60 million in cap, and I'm sure there's gonna be some people that they can cut. Not a lot of guaranteed money. They could have some money to spend even after just the massive contracts they gave out. And even though they're paying Tyler Linderbaum $34 million next year, that's insane. Good for him. But yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job. And let's jump into the depth chart. So, you know, I'm gonna talk about their secondary first. We're gonna do the defense first. Shout out to the defense. I need to talk about this. I am very confused as to what is going on with their safety and nickel position. So we look at Jeremy Chin, look at Isaiah Polamau, look at Teron Johnson, look at Traden Stukes. All of those guys are primarily close to the line of scrimmage, like not all like slot, some just like box safeties, almost like linebackers of different sub packages. I just feel like all those players are very similar. I could be missing something. I could be misremembering how these players play. But those four players, Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polamau, Teron Johnson, Traden Stukes, seem very similar. I just found that really weird. I don't know what their plan is. I mean, they have some solid just boundary corners here, and Eric Stokes and Darian Porter. Cameron Richardson was involved in trade. He's pretty solid. If you don't know if Jermon McCoy's going to play. I like Hezekiah Massis. I don't really know what's going on here. A lot of these guys just play the same position. I know I've been talking about that a lot. I just found it really weird. Anyway, done with that rant. Sorry about that. Let's get back into the offense. So weapons-wise, Jack Besh, rookie from last year from TCU, solid player. Nothing special. But Trey Tucker, I really like. Slot guy, more almost like a gadget guy, almost like a Wanda Robinson, but I think he's better, a couple inches taller. Good return man. You get the ball in this guy's hands. He could do a lot with it. I really like him. We talked about Jalen Naylor. See what Clint Kubiak can get out of him. Apparently, he sees something that everybody else didn't because he gave him a lot of money. Deontay Thornton, one of those Tennessee receivers. They run this really spread out offense where they're not really running a lot of the route tree, but he's 6'5", run a 4.3, just a burner. I mean, this guy could run past people, and with that size, that's just ridiculous. Malik Benson we talked about. We like him as a return man. Tariq Young talked about. It is a pretty deep receiving core, but I think he can earn some reps. I think he will make the team because of his special teams value. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. He's been trying. He's with the Chargers a little bit from USC. Hasn't really been able to stick, but Philip Dorsett feels like he's like 40 years old. I think he's still in his 20s. I don't know how. It feels like this guy's been around forever. But yeah, other than that, not a ton going on in this receiver room. Talking about the tight ends actually, because we want to continue with these weapons. Brock Bowers, we talked about amazing player, just one of the more dynamic tight ends we have in the league. Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, great blocker, has shown his value. He's a good receiver. I really like him. I talked about this in my last video with Jeremy Rucker. Give the blocking tight ends some more credit. These guys are what help teams keep moving. They play such a big role. Give them their flowers. Ian Thomas talks about some other guys. These three probably aren't going to make the team. Albert Okwuegbunam, one of the faster tight ends in the league. He was interesting. He was with the Broncos a little bit in his earlier in his career, but never worked out for him. And then we'll talk about the running backs. Then we'll go back to the offensive line. Ashton Genty, we talked about, amazing player. Just kind of like balance. Just his year at Boise State was incredible. Mike Washington, incredible player. Fell to the 4th round because there are some vision problems. He's not like just this perfect runner. He's not that great laterally, but you get this guy going, you get him the ball, let him just get upfield, and he can take it to the house, and people are just not going to want to tackle him. Dylan Nobby from, I believe, University of New Hampshire. Good special teams guy, return man, good pass catcher, good blocker out of the backfield. Solid player. These two guys probably aren't going to make the team. Chris Collier and Roman Hemby. And then Connor Hayward, we talked about, fullback. Okay player. Not a huge fan, but you understand why he's on the team. And then let's talk about this offensive line. So Colt Miller, we talked about. Charles Grant from, I believe, William and Mary, smaller school, but this is a very athletic, very talented guy who they just need to develop. He could be a starter one day, and he could be a pretty quality starter. Spencer Burford, we talked about from the Niners. Has ability to play all over the offensive line. I feel like him and Trey Zune are probably going to be battling it out. Play guard. Jordan Meredith might be in there as well. I think it could be really any one of these 1, 2, 3 all playing at that guard position. We'll see what happens. We'll see how these guys play in camp. Obviously, Trey Zune is a rookie, so he's already at a disadvantage kind of. But Tyler Linderbaum, we talked about. Great player. Jordan Meredith could be backing him up. Him, Trey Zune, Tyler Linderbaum, Jackson Powers-Johnson have all played center. Jackson Powers-Johnson, talk about now, from Oregon, came out as a center, played center for them. Pete Carroll and his son didn't want to play center. He ends up playing guard. He gets hurt. Just a disaster. I don't know what happened. Now they bring in Tyler Linderbaum. He's going to be at guard. I think he could be good there. He's a solid player. Very strong. Pretty solid movement skills. I think he could figure it out. I think he could be a good player. DJ Glaze, probably the weakest link of this offensive line. Maybe Spencer Burford, but at right tackle, they probably will be looking for an upgrade within the future. Just a solid player. Nothing special. We talked about Kirk Cousins. Talked about Fernando Mendoza. I mean, I really like Fernando Mendoza. Really smart player. I think he's going to figure out, even though Indiana ran that very RPO-heavy offense, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll figure it out. He's just so smart. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. He's gotten his chance. Not a great arm. Just one of those game manager quarterbacks. Solid backup, I think. I think he could have, honestly, a pretty long career as a backup. But probably never going to be a starter again. Let's get down to the defense here. Thomas Booker. He was involved in a trade, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but pretty solid player. Adam Butler, nose tackle, also pretty solid player. Jonah Laulu, once again, solid player. Not a ton going on with these three. Tonka Hemingway was a part of their draft class last year, solid player. JJ Pegues. This is actually a very interesting player. I remember watching him a lot last year. He coming out last year for the draft. He was at Ole Miss, but they had him line up as a fullback, and honestly just as a ball carrier. Sometimes they just snap him the ball and he would run. He showed up to combine. His movement skills weren't as good as you might have been hoping, as what we saw on tape from the running, but this is a player that could be used as a fullback, and kind of interesting. Maybe take a similar route to Pat Ricard did as a defensive lineman to move to a fullback. I think this guy could do it. Don't know if they're going to do that. Seems like they're probably not. I'm still holding out hope that somebody can do something with him. But yeah, this interior defensive line, nothing really crazy. It's more linebackers, edge rushers, and in the secondary that they have their playmakers. Quiddy Pay we talked about, not a huge fan, but he's a solid player, solid run defender. Max Crosby, one of the best in the league, we talked about. Kieran Crawford's got a huge ceiling, really like him. Malcolm Kuntz, great pass rusher. We talked about Quay Walker, we talked about Nakobe Dean. Both those guys I think are very solid players. I think given the chance, they could definitely step up their game. Tommy Eichenberg, I believe, from Ohio State. Liam Eichenberg's brother. Liam Eichenberg's offensive line. I'm not even sure where he is anymore. He was on the line, or sorry, not the Lions. He was on the Dolphins. Not sure where he is anymore. And then the secondary, pretty solid. We talked about Eric Stokes. Like Darian Porter was a draft pick from Iowa State last year. One of those very Pete Carroll corners, taller, long, good athleticism. Richard Sherman is kind of like that basis everybody looks to. Richard Sherman wasn't the greatest athlete, but he was just long. He just took over his side of the field. It's kind of similar to Tariq Woolen, but obviously Tariq Woolen and Darian Porter are much better athletes than Richard Sherman. But very Pete Carroll corner was pretty solid. Cameron Richardson was in a trade. We talked about him. Then we talked about their logjam at this position. If there's any Raiders fans that maybe know something that I don't, or maybe I'm misremembering, is it just me, or do all these guys play similar positions, and there's kind of like a logjam at this position at kind of nickel or just box safeties? I could be completely wrong. I'm not saying that these guys can't play like too high, like cover 2, cover 4, but if like single high, like cover 1, cover 3, I don't really remember either of these guys being primary like deep safeties. And then Teron Johnson, nickel corner, and Traden Stukes can play everywhere, but I think his value is most in the nickel. So if anybody knows anything about that, drop a comment. I'd really like to know if I'm just completely wrong on this. But then special teams as well. Like Daniel Carlson, bring in Matt Gay. AJ Cole's one of the better punters in the league. The main reason I did this was because of the return men. I think they've got some really solid return men on this team. Trey Tucker, I've talked about him. Get the ball in this guy's hands and he's going to go make a play. Derek Young, I didn't mention that. Not just his special teams. So when I said special teams value, I don't just mean as a returner, I mean as a gunner. Working on punt, kick return, kick off, punt return. He's got so much value across all special teams. He did return, and he was a pretty good return man, but like I said, he's also shown some upside as a receiver. And Dylan Nobby as well, shown some upside as a return man, blocker, receiving back. I really like these return man. I did forget to put the special teams in the previous videos. I wish I did talk about the return, because with the new rules of kick returns, the dynamic kickoff, kick returns are a huge factor. We saw that with the Seahawks last year with Rashid Shaheed. He played such a huge impact as punt returner and kick returner. If it wasn't for him, who knows if they win the Super Bowl. Thank God for Rashid Shaheed. But yeah, overall this team, I think they did upgrade. I think they're much better than they were last year. They supplemented the offense with some weapons, upgraded this offensive line. Cold Miller come back from injury is a huge get. Bringing Kirk Cousins and Mendoza, I think both those guys can contribute. Mike Washington, very solid running back to pair with Ashton Genty. Bringing Quiddy Pay as a solid rotational pass rusher. They upgrade at linebacker big time. Add some depth at pass rusher with Kieran Crawford to develop. Give this guy like 2 or 3 years. I think he could be a very, very good player. Malcolm Kuntz, great pass rusher. Jermon McCoy, if this guy can come back healthy, he could be, one of the best corners in the league. Hopefully he can. Teron Johnson added via trade. Very good nickel corner. I like what this team did this offseason. I think that it was controlled chaos is what I'll call it. They did go out and spend a lot of money. But obviously these teams go through this. They go through their cap sheet. They go through, okay, who are we gonna have to extend? When are we gonna need money? Who's gonna be free agent this year? Who do we think we're gonna want to target? What are the draft salaries gonna be? Where do we think we're gonna be drafting? They go through all of this. So this is all calculated. They know what they're doing. But some of this stuff, more than we would have expected. But I think they did pretty good this offseason. Talk about compensatory picks real quick, then I'll give my take on what I think they're gonna do this year. But not getting any compensatory picks, as we talked about in the last episode. Basically, every team every year has compensatory free agents. If you gain more free agents than you lose, you don't get compensatory picks. But if you lose more compensatory free agents than you gain, you get compensatory picks. Basically, compensatory picks you get for losing a player of a certain amount of value. So here we see Trey Hendrickson is at the top here. Trey Hendrickson got paid the most out of any free agent. We assume he's going to perform well. If he performs at like a Pro Bowl level, whatever, the Cincinnati Bengals could get a third-round pick for him. That's because they lost a player of value, so they get compensated for that. Obviously, in the name, compensatory. Yeah, they don't get any. But this Raiders team, where do I think they're gonna be? I think they're still lacking in the weapons department. I think they are still lacking some playmakers on defense. I think this team realistically might be like a 7-win team, maybe 6-win team. They could be a lot worse than that depending on their quarterback play. Injuries, obviously, any team could be derailed by injuries, but I know I've been pretty generous with the past couple episodes with where I think these teams are going to be. This team could be a playoff team. They're in a pretty competitive division. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers. All those teams are very good. Could they compete? Yes. Is it likely? I don't think so. So could they win 9 games, 10 games, make a playoff push? Yes. I think more likely, though, playing 6 games against the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos, those are going to be very tough. They just don't have better pieces. I think more than likely it's probably a 6-win team. This is a year where they add a bunch of pieces and then continue to build on that. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I just want to talk about this channel, what I'm kind of trying to do here. I've always looked at the media, sports media, and just really disliked how it's shaped. Everything's based off of clicks and rage bait and what hot take can I make. I don't really like that. I prefer more so like let's think about this with some nuance. Let's actually be analytical here and let's think about these moves. Let's not just throw out our ideas that are uninformed and just make stupid comments. I don't like that. Let's actually have a discussion. Let's have a conversation about what's going on here. Let's actually have a back and forth and be constructive with this. I think a lot of sports fans are deprived of that, and I really wish that was something that was more prevalent. So I would really like to try to develop a community here where people can actually talk about football, they could talk about sports, and we could have like constructive, actual conversation about this. People aren't just saying dumb stuff like, oh, this player sucks, or this player just isn't going to be good, or why they do this, why they draft him. Like, these teams are obviously thinking about this stuff. They know what they're doing. Let's actually think about this before we just speak out into the void. Anyway, I'm going on a rant. Thank you for watching this episode of Offseason Recap. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. If you want me to continue doing this series, comment down below what teams you want me to do next. I'm looking to try to do every single team this offseason, try to give a recap on their team, and I think I'm also going to start trying to do some draft content coming up soon, maybe some 2027 early mock drafts. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.